وجب الشكر علينا ما دعا لله داع أيها المبعوث فينا جئت بالأمر المطاع جئت شرفت المدينة مرحبا يا خير داع. His eyes slowly rising, sunrise warms the horizon, sand dunes form in the distance, he's up and out in an instant. The crowd, they all were waiting, watching and anticipating. A man appears from afar, could he be the one sent by Allah? He shouts, here comes the prophet, his face is a light that drives out the darkness. Words are alive, his message is living, pure everywhere.
Welcome to another episode of the Y Factor, listeners.
وجب الشكر علينا لا دعا لله داع أيها المبعوث فينا جئت بالأمر المطاع جئت شرفت المدينة مرحبا يا خير داع.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode of the Y Factor, listeners. Today is April the 25th and we're here for another very exciting live Y Factor episode. You've got Tasnim here on the mic, joined by
Zeynab.
Alright guys, so I think today you've had hopefully a very relaxing day. It was ANZAC day, so public holiday, you've had time off. Hopefully you've had time to chill, maybe visit some family and friends and just do nothing.
Yeah, best thing about public holiday, and the weather was nice, so hope everybody was out and about enjoying it.
That's right, it was actually very nice, and it was really nice to kind of see the sun out and things like that. Now, it's in case you haven't already realised, it's the third week in a row that the girls are on, and since the boys can't get their act together and come on, we've decided to basically take over the radio station. So since we're, in charge and doing what we like, we decided...
We have an all-female lineup for you guys this week.
This is like probably the third week in a row that we have an all-female lineup. Not just that, but we're taking some dramatic steps and we're actually going to scrap the news segment for this week. We thought, you know what, why should we be ordinary? Let's be extraordinary. Now, speaking of extraordinary, joining us on the line is Tahmina Ansari. Welcome to the show, Tahmina.
Hi guys, thank you for having me.
No worries. Now, extraordinary Tahmina, tell us what happened in the last week to make you so extraordinary that you're warranted to come on our show.
Okay, well, firstly, I don't think the appropriate word is extraordinary.
Oh, come on, don't be modest, Tahmina.
No, really, I really would not call it extraordinary. I think it's beyond ordinary. But I basically just had my first TV story for ABC go to air on Monday night. So that was really, really exciting.
Alhamdulillah. Now, for those who don't know, Tahmina is another one of our Scarfi hijabi sisterhood sisters, right? So it's really nice and empowering, I guess, to see, a hijabi make it to ABC television. Often, you hear, I guess, with us, like we're just, on air and no one sees our faces.
Face for radio, as they say.
But to actually see a young Muslim woman on TV live is actually pretty amazing. How did it feel, Tahmina?
Look, coming from a background of radio, because I started in radio and I still am in radio, I love radio. I think it's amazing, and I think it's great that you can hear somebody and you don't necessarily need to say what they look like or, what religion they are or ethnicity, for you to sort of connect with that, and I really, really like that about radio. But having that TV story go to air, look, I was really excited. I was more excited because of the story, to be honest, as opposed to me being a Muslim hijabi and being on TV. I sort of didn't think of it like that at all. I just was more focused on trying to get the message of the story across. I did a story on ANZAC Day about this Turkish man who basically had this old war veteran. So he's this ANZAC World War II veteran, and he returned these 2 daggers he stole from Turkish soldiers in Gallipoli, and he gave these daggers back to the Turkish community here in Sydney. And I thought that's just such a beautiful story, And
how did you come across it, Tahmina?
Well, in 2007, which is when it happened, I was actually present when Roy, which was the war veteran, handed the daggers over to Mehmet Soral, a Turkish community leader, and I was there, but back then I didn't have my journalism hat on. I wasn't working. I was 17 years old, so I didn't think anything of it. And then obviously ANZAC Day was coming up, and I was, deciding on what story I was going to do, and I thought this is a great story, and started shooting, and obviously put all the elements together, and alhamdulillah, it went to air on 7 p.m. news, and it was very exciting.
So this man who stole the daggers, what was the motivation behind taking the daggers in the first place?
Well, because what happened was it was in Gallipoli, so it was during World War I. It was his father who actually stole the daggers. So what happened was there were 2 Turkish soldiers that they held captive, so the Australian soldiers. And generally what happens in a situation of war is when you've got soldiers held captive, you're not going to allow them to have their weapons in their hands, obviously, so you're going to take it off them. So they had these 2 beautiful daggers. I actually got to hold them. They're really, really cool. They're these silver and gold, and they've got really beautiful artwork on them. They're very like Turkish Ottoman style, and he basically took them from the soldiers and obviously didn't return them, and thought, hey, let me take it to Australia as like a souvenir of battle. And then he passed it on to his son, and his son felt, yeah, why don't I give it back to the Turks?
And so the daggers are actually still in good condition as well?
They're in perfect condition, honestly. Like, if he sold that on eBay, he'd probably get, like, seriously, thousands of dollars for it, I reckon. So it's in mint condition. It's really, really nice.
Now, Tahmina, I guess speaking of ANZAC Day, and today is ANZAC Day, and we've all had the day off and things like that, I guess maybe this is taking a different tangent to the actual, what we were talking to you about previously. But what does ANZAC Day mean for you, I guess, as a young Muslim Australian in today's context?
Well, look, I think, you know, ANZAC Day is a very special day, and I think that we Muslims need to also sort of feel like we are a part of, you know, understanding what ANZAC Day is, and I think we should appreciate that because we do live in this country. A lot of us are, you know, have been born here and have been raised here, and so this is, you know, we are Australian, you know, Afghan Muslims or Australian Lebanese Muslims or Australian Turkish Muslims or whatever you are. So Australia is part of our identity, and I think it's important to remember that there were soldiers that fought for this country.
Yeah, but,
you know, just like, you know, there were soldiers that fought overseas for your own countries. So today I think is just a day to remember people, young boys that had sacrificed their lives, because at the end of the day they did. They were young, they didn't know what they were doing, having to go and fight in war and lose their lives.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that you mentioned the Turkish community because, you know, they'd have a whole completely different perspective on this day and what it means to them. So it's just interesting to see the different perspectives emerging.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I think with the Turkish community, I mean, I think a lot of young Australian Turks, so I think for them, I mean, I'm not too sure, I guess I can't speak for the entire Turkish community, but they're probably at a bit of a conflict within themselves that they're living in Australia and most of them have been raised here, but, you know, obviously they've got their Turkish grandfathers and things that have fought in Gallipoli. So I think either way for them, it's a day of reflection for them.
And I think as, I guess, contemporary Australians, I guess you can't go past ANZAC Day without actually contemplating on the wars that are currently being fought. And I guess when, you know, in the news constantly the words like diggers are used for contemporary soldiers, that is kind of trying to bring back the connotations of, you know, the ANZAC memory and World War II and things like that. So I guess it's always this kind of dilemma of, you know, like, I guess glorifying the past, glorifying war, glorifying what happened, but then at the same time still being kind of disgusted about what's going on these days. And I wonder, you know, if 10 years' time, the people that would look back during, you know, to the Afghanistan war, I wonder how they would portray the soldiers these days. So I guess that's the ANZAC spirit. Look, Tahmina, thanks so much for coming on. And
You're
it's
welcome.
really,
thank you for having me.
It's really great to hear, and inshallah we see more of you. And doing really, really interesting stories. So keep it up, good work, and we're really proud of you.
Thank you so much, and you guys keep doing what you're doing. Female power all the way.
All right. Jazakallah khair.
All right. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, so that was Tahmina Ansari, and as you should have figured out by now, she had the news story on the ABC this week, ABC television. Now, this is a live show, so you're welcome to call us on 97583399. That was 97583399, and we're happy to take your calls. Now, so that was kind of our news segment for this week. I guess speaking to a news person made it enough for you know, our producers not to sack us. But up next, we have a very, very exciting guest in the studio with us. Her name is Sophia, and Sophie. We're not going to tell you what she does, so stay tuned. After the break, we'll come back with our guest Sophie and tell you what it's all about. You're listening to the Y Factor on 87.6 FM.